Greetings. Welcome to whatever time and space that you're in. My name is Alyssa, and my pronouns are they, them. And I'm here in the mid to late afternoon in the Pacific Island, or Pacific Ocean on an island in the Pacific Northwest. So it's kind of interesting. I'm outside, so I am surrounded by plants, and there's lots of like hornets buzzing by, so you might occasionally see me react or respond to a bug or a bee, or to hear the sound of birds screaming past, etc. I also live on a farm, so sometimes animals come by, or people come by, or all sorts of things happen and pop up. So I beg your patience with a little bit of that. I imagine you're probably in your own reality, whether you are behind a closed door by yourself, or practicing with others, or maybe in your backyard, etc. So on, access to public space, maybe in a park or something like that. Giving yourself a little bit of permission to note what is atmospheric. When we do our work in yoga, we're working with a little bit of duality to understand non-dualism. Right? So anytime there's a polarity or an opposite, we're really talking about a whole field of ideas, right? And that sometimes we see these extremes, and there's a third or a fourth, right? It's not just dualistic, as it were. But sometimes when we think about our ability to move and breathe in the body, we're talking about what is natural, or prakriti, what is of nature, and that's also what's made around us, with the bees buzzing and the roses blooming, etc., so on. And recently, there was a eclipse, and a lunar eclipse. We had a blood moon, as we call it, and the flower moon, or the rose moon, full moon of the year, when the roses bloom, honestly, where I live, and they're just a little bit late. And I've been saying that, I've been thinking, where are they? And they're popping up. I'm bringing this up because I think that perhaps it's important to note that your timing is of sovereignty and agency inside of that idea of knowledge, of nature. You and your body, right? You're the one in there, living in there. You know what you need to do. Like, for example, I have a little bit of a knee thing going on. I've had injuries on and off, but I have an active work life. And so right now I might not bend my knee all the way. You could bend your knee deeper or less. It's up to you. You could use your own sense of feeling, your own knowledge, your own biofeedback, literally what you sense, to give you information. And I implore you to do so, especially since we're not in the same time and space. I'm with you in spirit. You give yourself permission to make decisions to be your own best teacher. Yoga is first and foremost a study that is independent, right, with yourself. Good teachers, strong lineages, those with knowledge who are seeking earnestly can be a great boon, a great gift, because we can sort of sometimes get by on their experiences in certain instances, but we have to go through and with the experience of our lifetime on our own, right? And it's the same thing with the practice of being alive. That we bring our spirit, our purusha, our sense of soul and self, and the light that lights us up in this lifetime, to the purusha, the nature, or to the prakriti, the nature of our bodies. And these are just terms for me that sometimes help and are useful. But they might not be for you. You can always skip ahead to the movement. Let me give you a point of view on the focus and the magic of what we're doing, and that paying attention to how things really are sometimes is a gift. Sometimes there's great beauty or great kindness or great joy or resplendence to be experienced. And so we practice being able to experience what we can. All right, let's begin. I'm going to go over to the mat. I like to begin this practice by uniting with 3 rounds of the seed sound of Om. Om is a secular chant. It acknowledges the interconnection between all things. If Om or chanting isn't for you, it's always okay to sit with us in presence instead. Otherwise, you could close your eyes, fold your hands somewhere neutral. It doesn't draw too much unnecessary attention to them. Begin to pay attention. Sometimes just using your imagination of what it would be like to go inward and downward. Imagine the insides of your lungs. Some people like to imagine filling their bodies with light or with color. You could also just use your proprioceptive sense, your felt sense of the ground below you, your breath moving in and out. Oming or chanting isn't for you. It's always okay to be with us in presence instead. Many good reasons to choose not to. Otherwise, we'll chant the sound of the universe. To clear and prepare the channel of your body, take an inhale in through your nose. And open your mouth to exhale. Inhale, prepare to chant. You might be standing or you might be in a seat. You're going to breathe in and out through your nose, ujjayi pranayama. Long and slow, smooth and deep. Try to breathe in a way that is intentional, purposeful. I'm going to move to a hands and knees position. You can spinal tilt, undulate your spine from any position. When you're ready, you feel stable. Inhale to the back bend, cow pose, lift your chin and tail. Exhale, cat pose, tuck your chin under spine. Follow your breath through these two actions, inhaling to open your front seam and exhaling to turn it around at your own pace. And you might push your hands and knees out and in as you go, oppositionally through each action. Some people like to have their toes curled. You might place padding under hands. Sometimes if there's issues with your wrists, you could fist your hands down in this way, right? Or you could bring more weight back and cow-cat tilt from the shorter function. Follow your breath, inhaling and exhaling. The breath, the pranayama, the movement of the energy of your life, right? From the moment you're born until you die, the air moves in and out. The blood circulates through, nourishing nutrients. We also have to focus on the offloading. Right? A lot of our natural function is to let go of what we don't need, make space for the cultivation of new. You might practice pratyahara, drawing your senses withinward, or drawing them to one point of focus, maybe your breath, the sense of the ground where you touch it with your body, gravity pulling you down or pushing you up. Pause in central. We'll do a little bit of spinal extension. So any position you're in, inhale, reach your right arm forward or maybe up. And reach your left leg back and long. Begin to breathe. Notice that you could be back bending, right, like the cow pose, nothing wrong with that, or rounding. But you might seek neutral in between the two. Spin your bicep up, your inner thigh up. A lot of planes in my world today. Take a big free inhale. And on your exhale, place your right hand down, left knee down. Good. Other side, inhale, left arm forward, right leg back, and breathe here. And we're just establishing the shape. Sometimes it can be interesting to kind of lift up out of your sort of standing shoulder by pressing down. Note whether or not you're truly straightening your leg. To draw your navel back to support your lower spine. Breathing. And exhale to release your right knee down, your left hand down. We're going to go back and forth between these two actions. Try to be specific and follow your breath if you can, but take as many breaths as you need to feel powerful and engaged. Inhale, right arm forward, left leg back. Exhale, tabletop position. Inhale, right leg forward, left arm forward, right leg back. Exhale to neutral. Right arm, left leg. As you inhale, exhale to replace. Left arm, right leg as you inhale. And exhale to replace. Continue with your breath. Some people can inhale on one side and exhale to the other. If you do that, make sure you switch at some point. Notice the moment of shift, change in between. And the next time, both hands, both knees are down, keep them down. Inhale, curl your toes under, lift your knees and hips up and back. Exhale towards down dog. In some other videos, I've shown this little wall, and you take your body and flip the perspective, and that might be for some. Or you don't have to drive yourself bananas with your wrists on the ground. You could also use your forearms. Feel free to bend your knees and don't worry about whether your legs are straight. A lot of that is an aesthetic. It comes from sort of patriarchal and often not so positive point of view in certain old school European ballet houses, most of which is very wonderfully changing these days, but back in the day really affected our movement aesthetic, what we think movement should look like. Good. Inhale your right leg up and back. Now you could bring your left knee down again if you'd like, or keep it up. Exhale, open your hip and bend your knee. We're a little bit after this full moon, so now we're integrating some of the resonant information, climactic, emotional experiences, big changes and shifts. Inhale, reach your right leg high and long. Exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. You might grab it and pull it up. Indent to your fingertips. You can also climb up, right? If being low is a lot, there's walls and chairs around you. I'm not quite so blessed in the forest with those things, but you're welcome to use them, and I encourage you to experiment with them. Inhale, cow lunge, dip your hips, lift your heart. Exhale, straighten your right leg, send your pelvis up and back, around your spine. Inhale, bend your right knee, look forward. Exhale, step your left foot up to meet your right. We do this a lot, forward fold, at least in these videos. Inhale, halfway lift. Feel free to take as many breaths, as many steps as you need. Exhale, forward fold. Roll up to standing slowly, so bend your knees. Let your head and fingers hang, and take a few breaths, maybe 3, maybe 4. We live in such a fast world. My experience is that if you really want to go slow, you're going to have to slow down more than of what you think slow is, because our perception is so warped. You get to the top, take a couple exhales to roll your shoulders down your back, to stand in neutral and close your eyes. Neutral might be with your feet hips distance, with your feet together. If you close your eyes, or maybe if you just look at one spot instead of looking down at your feet, you might experience a sense of feeling the texture of the floor or the mat underneath the pads of your feet. And you might experiment with stepping your feet apart to hips distance or back together. You can scoot your way along. You can feel your way through, like your way through a dark room towards the light. It doesn't have to be fast. This sort of proprioception is just a different power in the body than the muscular power or strength we're used to cultivating in physicality. It can help us with our agility, help us with our perception, being more complete of the natural universe. And the next natural inhale, flutter your eyes open if you did close them. Tune into what's around you. We're in Samasitihi, same on all sides, standing pose. As your feet press down into gravity, the roof of your mouth, crown of your head, heart will all lift. So will the floor of your pelvis if you're applying Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, which you're welcome to experiment with. Sometimes it's just an idea for a while, those contractions, before you feel something. We'll move through these salutations, going back and forth a little bit lunarly through our hips. Inhale your arms up, reaching up. Exhale, side body bend to the right. And so you could pull your left wrist with your right hand, press your pelvis to the left. Inhale up through center, and exhale over to the left hand side. Puff your right rib cage out. These are forms of lunar postures, Chandrasana. Inhale up through center, and exhale, backward bend. I like to cactus my arms, pull my shoulder blades down my back. It's always okay to keep your head upright. Inhale, reach up. Urdhva Hastasana, the arms up, pose. Exhale, forward fold, dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and squat a little. Step your right foot back, long low lunge. Good. Inhale, cow lunge. Bend your front knee, dip your back hip, lift your heart up. Exhale, cat lunge, straightening both legs. Round in. Good. Inhale, bend your front knee. Exhale, downward dog. Step your left foot back to meet your right. Inhale out towards a plank pose. Bend your knees softly to land on the exhale. Bend your elbows in and back. Lower your chest and your chin, honor towards the earth. Inhale, scoop forward towards cobra, usually a little compression in the middle back. And exhale, on your way through tabletop, back to downward facing dog pose. Take a big free inhale through your nose. And open mouth exhale. Good. Inhale to take your left leg up and back. And again, You might do this from a hands and knees position. You can also do it from a standing position. Bend your right knee, stand on your right foot, bend your left leg back. Flip the screen maybe if you've got the ability. Exhale, open your hip and bend your knee. Continue to draw your awareness back to your breath again and again. Even if your physical acuity is quite strong, you can keep that focus on breathing, equating actions to balance and economy. Take another inhale. Exhale to step your left foot forward between your hands or in that direction. And inhale to bend your left knee. Drop your right knee down. Rise up onto your left knee thigh. You can interweave your fingers. And take an exhale here. And inhale, reach your right arm up. Exhale by exhale, side bend over to the left. Use an inhale to draw back through center. And exhale to backward bend. I use my left hand on the ground behind my left hip, but you might hold your left knee as you reach up and back. Send your left knee forward so you have some opposition to lean back away from. Inhale to reach back up and through. Exhale, release 2 hands down to frame your front foot. Curl your back toes, lift your back knee. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samasitihi. Let your arms come down by your sides. Good, inhale, arms up. Exhale, Chandrasana, side bend to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale to the other side. You can always slow it down. You don't have to move at my pace, but move with your breath. Where is it free? Inhale through center and exhale to backward bend. You might squeeze your glute muscles to press your pelvis forward. Inhale to reach up, Urdhva Hastasana, press your heels down. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step your left foot back. Drop your left knee down, inhale. Climb up on your right knee thigh, reach your left arm up. Exhale by exhale, side body bend over to the right. Now you can go more forward, right? Sometimes that lengthens the lower back. Sometimes the compression going back allows us to feel more in certain spaces. Oh, I'm going to keep my toes curled. My knee. But inhale your way back through center. Exhale, backward bend. Again, you might hold your right knee or utilize your hand on a prop or the earth. Inhale to draw up through center and exhale to release. 2 hands down. Good. Lift your back knee. Take an inhale. Step back. Downward facing dog pose. Exhale. Lower your knees to the mat. Your chest to the mat. Your chin to the mat. We're on that directional plane. Inhale, cobra. Slide forward. Push the earth away with your feet tops. And exhale. Back to downward facing dog pose. All right. Inhale your right leg up. Exhale, open your hip. Inhale, straighten and extend. Exhale, step your right foot forward. Left hand down, inhale, right arm up. Twist to the right. And exhale, both hands down. Inhale, look forward, prepare. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, stand all the way up. Reach up, plug your heels down, maybe look up and back. Exhale to neutral, Samasitihi. Alright, inhale your arms up. Exhale, side body bend to the right. Ardha Chandrasana. Inhale up through center. Exhale over to the left. Inhale up through center. Exhale, backward bend. Inhale all the way up. Exhale to fold down. Inhale, halfway lift. Pause in the exhale and fold. Bend your knees and squat. Now, take your hands around behind. It really depends on sort of the beautiful width of your thighs. Like you might have a lot more to reach around or a lot more to prop you up. Honestly, your strong quads. Right? Maybe you happen to have sort of a bony frame and there's nothing there in your way. Right? However the flesh of your body collaborates with you, we're trying to get ourselves sort of wrapped around our legs. So you might bring your hands behind, even your thighs or your calves, and start to straighten your legs, sometimes with hips distance. Right? If you happen to have a lot of belly flesh, maybe you're a pregnant person, or you just have belly flesh, you move your feet apart and might give you more space. Please feel free to accommodate the beauty of your actual body as opposed to some other silly idea about what bodies are at a norm. If you happen to be able to get down there, you might reach around behind your Achilles tendons or even scoop some fingers up underneath your heels like shovels. And then, especially if your body's close to your legs, press your body against your legs, vice versa, as close as you can, and start to straighten your legs and lift your hips. You're welcome to tuck your chin and your forehead towards your shins. I've been doing this for a lot of years this way and have really lengthy hamstring insertion points and stuff. Don't worry if you don't get all the way to some pose idea or to straight legs. Once again, it's the pressure between the two, fold and stretch, that we're examining. Release your hands out from underneath your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold slowly as you squat. Step your right foot back. Right hand down. Inhale, left arm up. You can always do this with your back knee down. Or again, anytime that you need less compression, prop yourself upright more. And remember that there's a lot to be gained by being experimental and unique. The postures are not a rote thing to memorize or to limit us. They do have some structure. They can teach us things as we study them. Let that study be a little free and open. Exhale, two hands down, step back. On the inhale, it's a downward facing dog pose. Exhale, lower your knees to the mat. If you need another inhale to cow, feel free. Otherwise, exhaling down, chest and chin. Inhale, cobra pose, or maybe upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Take a big free inhale in. Maybe even gently hold your breath if it doesn't cause you any anxiety at the top. Open your mouth to exhale, like you're fogging a mirror. And you could do that again, inhaling through your nose. Like you're astonished or you're shushing a puppy or something. Shh, S-H. Inhale through your nose, ujjayi. Exhale through your nose, ujjayi. Inhale your left leg up. Exhale, open it up. Inhale to extend. And exhale to step it through. Inhale to high crescent lunge. You can climb up your front knee. Now, if the balance is a lot, totally do warrior one. Put your back heel down, step it in, so your front knee and back knee don't have to twist too much. And you're always welcome to stabilize in that way. Sometimes that's what your ankles are asking you for. Right? Otherwise, you might be high on the ball of your back foot, low and rooted in your front heel. You can anchor your tail, but we're being asymmetrical, right? Our legs are doing different things. And try not to worry about squaring your hips. Inhale, reach your arms up. In your exhale, we're going to go to the goddess squat. So turn to the right. You can turn your right toes out and your heels in. Bend your knees, sink your hips. It doesn't have to be super deep to be effective. You can find what feels comfortable, sometimes more turned in or turned out. Knees about at the same vectors as the toes. You're welcome to slither a little from side to side. Take your arms out or up. Take an inhale. Exhale to sink a little deeper. Now pushing with your right leg, we're going to return from whence we came. Inhale to turn it around. And that might be the Crescent Lunge, Vinyasa, might be Warrior One, Virabhadrasana. And exhale, release your hands to the mat. Lower down in that direction. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. Maybe up and back. Exhale, Samasitihi. Stand in neutral. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, side body bend to the right. And stay. Shift your weight over into your right foot. If you can pop your left leg out as a counterbalance. Take an inhale. Exhale, bend your right knee. Step your left foot back behind you. You can stay here. Or maybe you can tilt over into your left foot, which means tilting to the right. Keep side bending to the right and press your hips to the left. This one's a little tricky. Good inhale. Stand back up. Come back through. Side body bending. And the exhale. Inhale up through center. Switch it up. Exhale over to the left. Good, and again, shift your weight. You can always skip this. You can just stay on the side bend. A lot to be benefited from there. Difficult to stay for a long time. Bend your left knee and step your right foot back behind you. You can bend both knees like you're doing a little curtsy, a little squat. You might shift your weight over to the left. Put your right heel down. Continue to bend both knees. Push your pelvis to the right. Side body bend to the left. Good, inhale. Come back through. Exhale to side body bend. Inhale up through center. Exhale, backward bending. Make sure you're lifting up so that as you go back, you're making space. Inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale. So again, I'm going to do a forward fold. You can take your hands behind you, then you might wrap them around like this. Right? I've got one hand over. You can switch it up if you do it a lot. Squat down as much as you like. And if that doesn't work out, you can also do this with a strap. You can wrap a strap just around, right? And you will be able to hold the other side, wrap it around behind your legs. Once your hands are through, you'll hold the front of the towel. I believe in your ability to experiment with it. You can grab the fronts of your legs. You might fold down, hang your head. You might begin to straighten your legs. Now, if you can fold a lot, hold as low as you can. You might keep your knees bent with your armpits and your knees. Straighten your legs and do that same pressurizing of your body against your legs. Or repeat what you did last time we were here. Fold and draw yourself in. Sometimes it can be important to do forward folding even in these open, resonant, open-hearted sort of times of the season and year, simply so that you retain some of that beauty and love for yourself in your own experience. And exhale to release. Inhale, halfway lift, unroll. Exhale, fold. Step your left foot back. As you're ready, inhale, climb up or rise up, high lunge, crescent lunge, or maybe warrior one. Notice if you grab the ground with your toes, see if you can spread and press. Your striking implement is your heel, right? That's what you walk upon, right? So that's, we press down the place most ergonomic to sort of train our bodies towards for action. Take an inhale to reach up, maybe reach back. We're going to head towards the goddess by turning to your left, right? So I'm going to not face you, which is a little unusual for these videos. Bend your both knees and squat down. And again, you can take your time to consider, right, how much tilt or tuck of your tail feels good, right? Arms out or up, right? Heels low. Breathing throughout the work that you're doing. Now take an inhale. On your exhale, begin to push with your left foot. To turn back forward. You might have to shorten it up a little bit. And inhale to reach your arms up. And maybe back. And exhale. Your both hands down. Good. Step your right foot back. Inhale. Downward facing dog pose. Last time, exhale. Your knees to the mat, maybe chest and chin. If you don't go all the way down, sometimes it's easier to inhale and come forward to upward dog. And you can press your feet down and lift your knees. Exhale back, maybe through that rounded spine to downward facing dog pose. Take a big free inhale in through your nose. And open your mouth to exhale. Walk your hands back to meet your feet, the back edge of your mat, and hang in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold down. And slowly dragging your head, round yourself up. Drag your fingers. You might keep your knees quite bent until your body is upright. Once you're there, roll your shoulders down your back. Stand in neutral. Now we're going to work on that proprioception again, a little bit of coordinated, but really just extemporaneous movement, right? We're trying to coordinate from an unseen point of view internally, right? So it's just an attempt, right? So it might feel a little disorganized. Sometimes that can make us feel a little less powerful. Remember, it's just an experiment. You're cultivating the very beginning of your magic. This is like the first potion you've made, right? So give yourself like just the courage that the intent is enough. That's the thing. So close your eyes if eye closing is for you. Other options include looking upward if having your eyes open feels better, or looking out and up so you don't look down at your feet. Take your knees a few times. You might just shift a little from side to side like we do in conversation. Right? Shift your weight from one foot to the other. And then see if you can stand on your left foot. You might start by lifting your right heel up. Sometimes it can be helpful to put your hands in your hips or your hands in your shoulders. If you've opened your eyes to look at what I'm talking about, you might close your eyes again. There's a function of your brain that gets better at sort of listening for non-visual cues if you don't keep opening your eyes again to seek them. I know it's kind of a catch-22, but if you can keep your eyes closed, even if it means you have to sort of stumble around a little bit, then do. And once you've established where you want to be, maybe you can soften your left knee and take your right foot entirely off the ground. Maybe you have to put it right back down again. Usually the wind blows us over pretty quick. If you feel like you've got a little traction, maybe you can lift your foot up, bend your knee, lift your thigh bone up parallel to your hip socket. And it's pretty hard, right? So if you give it a try or two and it's not for you, remember you have options. You can try the horizon, not looking down, maybe looking up. Try not to track your vision straight down. That's the first challenge. And then maybe even you can look around, right? If your head is up, right? Try that experiment, figuring out where you are. I like to provide a little earnest failure for some of these difficult things. And give yourself a moment. If you've had your eyes closed and it feels good to keep with that, you might keep them closed as you land on both feet. And again, do any sort of moving or stretching of your left ankle that you need to. Then begin to shift the weight into your right foot, and we'll try the experiment again for a few breaths. I implore you to notice the response. Sometimes sort of big deal feelings can come out of small deal actions. Remember, this is just a little balance exercise in a yoga video that you can turn off at any time. You never listen to another word I ever say or do it this way. Right? So if you're trying something, do it for you, or do it because it's an experiment that you're interested in. Remember that it won't be easy and that it is learned, right? Like a lot of our other skills like flexibility and strength, right? Physically practicing balance will make you better at it. If you don't practice, right, you may be like a newborn lamb on your way through. And give yourself a couple of good tries. Sometimes arms out feels good, but sometimes also once we tilt a big way over, right, we have a big compensation to come back to the center. Okay. And as you're ready, let's see if you can put your foot down. All right. We're at the back end of the mat. I've just moved to demonstrate a little bit. We're going to do just a little experiment again with eyes closed, walking to the front of the mat. If eyes closed is not for you, consider looking as far up as your neck allows and doing that instead. And if you can do it with your eyes closed, start to slowly move. You might be on a rug or a mat, and therefore you kind of know where the obstacles are. Obviously, if you don't have anything to tell you where the wall is going to be, stick an arm out. But if you're on a rug or a mat and you know that like stepping off of it would be when you start to enter no man's land, then that would be the way. Right? Walk forward to the edge of your mat. And I've gone off to the side. I can feel that with my toes on the deck. Once your feet sort of slide off the front of the yoga mat, then the work is to do it in the opposite direction. So you can either do a 180 and walk forward to the back of your mat and then another 180 when you get there. Or maybe you can start shifting your weight and walking. When you slow down walking backwards, you might notice that a lot of the balancing poses that we do, right, mimic some portion of the actions of walking. A lot of this is also just a cultivation of self-trust. So many reasons why trust has been removed from our bodies. Right? Sometimes benign, sort of incidental human trauma, sometimes more big deal trauma that we're sort of figuring out how we contextualize in the body and in the self. And paying attention is really the idea. Paying attention to your own experience of this kind of action. Once you're at the back of the mat, we'll stay there and you can stand. We'll meet each other. When you're ready, let your chin drop and slowly roll yourself down. And walk yourself out. Downward facing dog pose. Inhale your right leg up. And exhale, step it forward and through. Inhale, Crescent Lunge or Warrior One, which really just means spinning your back heel down. And exhale, Warrior Two. Right, so spins open. One side of it's a little bit like that goddess lunge or horse pose that we did. You can inhale to reach forward. Exhale, side angle. So side angle might be your elbow on your knee, your arm on the outside of your leg or inside. But also push against a wall or a prop if you're close to one. Create a little space. The angle is the spine, right? From your back heel, through your pelvis, through your heart, through the crown of your head. We're making an angle. You might twist along the line of that angle. Gaze up. Good. Inhale, Warrior Two. And exhale, Warrior One. So you might have to step it in, do a little bit of that pivoting action. Take another inhale to reach your way up. And exhale your two hands down. Inhale, standing split or standing L. Kick the sky with your left leg as you transfer weight into your right foot. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Utkatasana. Bend your knees for the fierce pose, sometimes called awkward pose or chair. Bend your knees, sink your hips, take your arms out, forward or up. You can always do this with your feet hips distance, with your knees turned out. You just want to feel equal pressure right on both sides. As you sink low, stick your tail out and use your middle back strength to lift your heart up. Take a big free inhale. Stand all the way up. Exhale to Samasitihi. Stand in neutral. Good. Inhale your arms up, reaching up. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, weight in your left foot. Inhale, kick your right leg up and back. Exhale, step your foot back. Warrior One or high crescent lunge. You could also do the low lunge with your right knee down. Inhale to rise up. And exhale to Warrior Two. Might be a little bit of a pivot and change. And take the time. Your left thigh is spinning out, but not so much that your knee isn't stable. The inside edge of your heel and big toe ball mound aren't down. Strike your back heel down. Take an inhale. Exhale to side angle pose. Right again. There are many ways to do the side angle. If you have to do this, now we're kind of doing triangle pose, right? It might be about keeping your body lifted more subtle tilt. Experiment and try not to go for what is necessarily in your pattern already, but what works against your pattern a little bit. Plug your heel down, maybe gaze up and twist your heart the opposite direction. You're twisting your left thigh bone. Good. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, start to move towards warrior one. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands down. Step back, plank pose. Take an inhale. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. You can lower halfway or all the way. Inhale to upward dog or to cobra with your hips and thighs down. Pull your heart up. Use some back strength either way. Exhale to downward dog. Take an inhale through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. Ujjayi. Inhale through your nose, the upward liberating breath. Ujjayi out through your nose. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, step it forward and through. And spin your back heel down. Inhale towards warrior one. And on your exhale, straighten your front leg and circle your arms back. Right, so we're going to get ready for the side stretching, the right side stretching pose, or pyramid posture, some folks call it. Some of us will want to step our back foot in towards the front foot and maybe out towards the right. You can play around with how turned in or out you want your thigh bone to be. And take your hands to your hips, grab your opposite elbows, maybe press your palms in a reverse prayer behind your heart. Inhale to lift said heart up. Exhale to fold over your left leg. You might be able to hang your head and look back behind you. Maybe you could practice closing your eyes in this shape too. Inhale to stand up. Exhale, bend your left knee. Restation your feet to warrior one. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten your left leg. And let's turn our feet parallel and exhale to the wide-footed fold. Release your hands towards the earth. Inhale, unroll your heart, and exhale, fold. You can push the earth away, like I'm pushing in the direction of the camera right now, like I do in down dog. And you can straighten your knees, but they could be a little bent. Mostly we're trying to turn the tail. Roll your pelvis up to bring the crown of your head down. Plug your heels down and practice Samasitihi in your feet, so no more weight in your toes and your heels and vice versa. Steady your breath. And while we notice extremes, you don't need to put yourself in the center of the fire to study how it burns. So figure out where a place of acuity is for you. There's no need to traumatize yourself into survival mode. Inhale and roll your heart. Exhale your hands to your hips. Inhale to stand. Exhale to warrior two. Take an inhale, reverse your warriors, side body bending once more. And exhale, side angle. Take a big free inhale and exhale. See if you can circle your right hand and your right foot so you come all the way down, right. Yes. All right. Take an inhale to gaze forward. Take off onto your left leg. Kick your right leg up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Utkatasana, fierce pose. Bend your knees, sink your weight back. Even if it doesn't go very far down, weight in your heels. Inhale, your arms out or up. Still inhaling, stand all the way up through Urdhva Hastasana, maybe back. Exhale. Samasitihi, neutral standing. Inhale, your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Right foot down. Inhale, sweep your left leg up. Exhale, step it back. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, straighten your right leg and circle your arms back. Now you might need to step your left foot forward and out. Choose your arm positioning. Inhale to lift your heart, and exhale to fold. Now it's okay to bend your knees, especially if you feel like your back heel is way off the ground. Right? Bend your knees, shorten up your stance, shift your weight around. It's okay to lift your body around and hang, whatever position your spine expresses. Good. Inhale to rise. Exhale. I'm going to find that warrior one stance again. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to warrior two. And again, these postures, sometimes we have our, tendencies. Mine is my tight shoulders. I sort of chicken wing my arms out. It's a reaching, making space, expanding is what I think about a little bit. Remember, we're not trying to perfect or sort of whip our bodies into these positions, right? They are sort of living gestures or ideas that we're examining. We're examining them by embodying them just as much as considering them in any other way. Good. Inhale to straighten your right leg and turn your right toes in. This time again, we're going to bend the knees and find that squatting position. Sink your hips. I'm going to turn around so I can see you. Inhale. Take an exhale to twist towards the right. Bring your left shoulder towards your right knee. Right gaze up over your right shoulder. Inhaling. And exhale to twist back around. Just turn in so I can see you. Face you, be polite. Come back through center. And the next time you've completed twisting left, straighten your legs, turn your toes in, and fold forward. This time you might grab the outer legs or wrap your peace sign fingers around your big toes. Inhale to unroll and exhale to pull. And so some of you I know are working on turning upside down. So some people like the tripod headstand, and you could try that. I implore you to, work at a wall, especially if you're working in your house alone. You'd be surprised after working at a wall for a while how things might change. If you've been working at a wall for a while, maybe instead of working right up against the wall, you could be a foot or so away, a shin's distance away, so you could bend one of your knees and put the sole of your foot on the wall, suspend your other leg. So I'm saying this because it also turn upside down from here. Some people will come to their forearms and to their head or to their forearms alone and tilt forward to lift their legs up. Right? Some people like to come into things like Vinyasa, arm balances, where they put their arms down and take their legs up. You can experiment or do none of these things. Continue to fold and know that you're inverting and getting most of the physiological benefit simply from being there. If you want to pause to turn upside down and do work of any kind here, feel free. Right? That's a gift of the video. Otherwise, in the next few breaths, we'll return our feet to the earth. You might have peace sign fingers around big toes, using pulling leverage to draw yourself in and down. Inhale to unroll your heart. Take an exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale to stand the rest of the way up. And exhale, back into warrior two. Take your arms out. And you can inhale to reach up and reach back. I'll do that in this position this time, in this order. Exhale to side angle of any kind. Okay, take a big free inhale. Exhale your left hand down and your left heel up. Inhale, standing L or splits. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. This time around, let's exhale. Step your feet back, Chaturanga Dandasana, just for a little space. Inhale to upward facing dog pose. Exhale to downward facing dog pose. All right. Lie the gateway between your hands and exhale to a seat. Ooh, I'm going to transition just like that towards the earth. And pull some of the goodness out and back from underneath you. Seated forward fold. Reach for your peace sign fingers around your big toes. Or you can strap up your feet or reach for what you can. Inhale to unroll. Exhale to fold. Keep your legs active. Inhale to unroll your heart. And exhale to release your hands to the earth. Put your hands on the mat next to your middle thigh. So split the difference between your knees and your hips. Sometimes a little closer to the knees if your torso is long. Take an inhale. And your exhale, round forward, forehead towards your knees. When I can't go any further, inhale, straighten your arms, kick your heels down, straighten your knees, and try to lift your butt off the ground. And exhale to lower your hips. Let's do it one more time. Take an inhale. Exhale to fold. You can point your toes or flex them, whatever feels good. Inhale, straighten your arms. Try to keep your face and your legs close. And exhale to lower. Now, sometimes you get little cramps and things like that in your stomach. If that happens to you, twist it out. Take your time. And another way to work on this is to put a block up underneath your heels so that your legs are already lifted. You're going to do that. You're going to involve your hamstrings and bend your knees, and things are going to go a little more like this. At that angle, feel free to give it a try. Otherwise, you could also try a third variation, which is trying to lift your legs up off the ground. And we'll try it together if you'd like to. Remember not to grit your teeth. Keep your sense of humor, otherwise it's not worth it. Take an inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, straighten your arms, lift your seat. Maybe lift your feet. Maybe tilt your body and look forward and up. Good, and exhale to set it down. All right, nice work. Take your arms behind you, reverse plank or table. You can move the soles of your feet down and inhale to lift your heart up, or you might keep your legs out long and lift your heart, hang your head back, breathing. Good, and exhale to set it down. Bend your right knee and we're going to twist towards it in the form of Matsyandrasana. Inhale your left arm up and you can exhale to the outside edge or you can hug around. You might turn and twist back. You're welcome to reach around behind you. Bind your hands for twisting. Make sure you can breathe. If you're so twisted up that there's no space for relaxation, then we can't learn. Right? There's no emergence of change or shift. Good. And release it. If you need a little counter twist, just go the other way, over to the left. Before doing the other side, take your right leg out, fold your left leg in. I'm not going to fold mine as far this time. Inhale your right arm up and over. And again, there's lots of things you could do, right? Especially if there's things around you. Feel free to grab them for leverage. Exhale to unwind it. Very nice. You do another exercise just like that. And then backward bend a little before resting. And take your legs out wide, Upavishta Konasana. Right, and first let's twist over to the right. Right, so you're sort of facing your right leg, and notice how much your left leg wants to come with you. Right, see if you can do a little work to turn from center, but also keep things a bit externally rotated. Take an inhale. Exhale, round forward over your right leg. Press down. Press your heels down. Inhale. Maybe you can lift your seat up. Exhale to set it back down. Frame your left leg. Inhale. Exhale to round. Inhale. Straighten and play around with where you put your hands. Remember, if you're not like me, long torso, etc., it's okay to bend your knees to get your hammies involved if that helps. All right, let's do it again to the right. Inhale. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lift. And set it down. Over to the left. Inhale. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lift. Exhale to set it down. You can also try the central channel. You can inhale, exhale to fold. Usually we slide the legs up the arms. Inhale to lift, and exhale to set it back down. And you can keep trying these with your breath. Right? You're also welcome to try the full lift. I suggest hips first, and then trying to lift your legs off the ground, right? And it'd be nice to your quads and your hip flexors. Sometimes we need to roll things out in between. When you're done with this, we'll just fold forward over it. Right? So you can fold and round. You're welcome to put a pillow there. It's okay to let this roll in if you don't have any issues in your inner knees. Right? But you could try keeping it rotated out just to see what happens. I really implore you to try all your options, to try out lots of different things, to try every good suggestion. If your wisdom tells you inherently that you shouldn't do something, you can also really listen to that. But we're often really sure, or want someone to be an expert and tell us what is sure. The thing is too mythical and complex and has adapted over too many millions of years, right, for us to be so dichotomous about it. Stringent, to believe that we have the right answers of how to be in our bodies in this lifetime. And so instead, I implore you to stay inquisitive, curious, to have questions, to show up with love for the world when you can, so that you can partake in it, so that we all might be blessed by your many gifts. When you're ready, you can roll yourself up. You're welcome to drag your head along the way. You might use your hands behind your knees to draw things close. And then roll down onto your back as you will. Once you're on your back, bend your knees and facing bow if it's in your practice. And exhale to press your lower back down and inhale to lift your hips. Septum Sarvangasana is a form of shoulder stand actually, so you might roll your shoulders together if that feels good for you. Some people will rest their hips in their hands or put props underneath your hips. Stay in the back bend for about 10 breaths. You might wiggle, wobble, give yourself permission to move. You might press up into Urdhva Dhanurasana. Breathe. And continue to turn your awareness back again and again. Pratyahara is like a hallway. You walk down the hallway one direction most of the time. From your internal light, you peer outward at the world. What would it be like to turn that focus back in on itself? To walk down the hallway in the other way. See what kind of bright channels open up in those directions. At very least, you deserve your own love and attention. Slowly release safely as you come down. We're going to twist so you can drop your knees right and left a few times if you like. Then when you're ready, you might wrap your left leg up and over your right and drop both legs to the left. Take your right arm out to the right if you wish. You're welcome to look to the right, but if you feel any neck sort of like tightness or tingling in your fingers or jaw, you might avoid that. Pressure on your nerves doesn't really, I don't want to say it doesn't do anything. There are types of pressure and compression that can be helpful in all the tissues of the body, etc. But generally, this type of twisting compression on our nerves is not as beneficial as the twisting that we do in the blood vessels around our spine, the twisting that we do in the internal organs, the sac of the stomach, sac of the torso. So don't worry about your neck completing any twists, etc. You can also do this with both knees stacked or with your right knee wrapped around and your left leg out long. When you're ready, you can come back to center. Twist your left leg around a little bit so you're in the right. Your left, or lift your right leg up, bring your leg into your chest. This is a little bit like pigeon, so if you know you prefer that, enough time. There's no magic grace I'm creating with the flow of the postures that requires you to do it any one way. all of the magic grace you're cultivating is coming from within. I would say that in this multitudinous world, my experience has been that there are so many more ways than I could imagine through life, and so many more ways to grace. So, and pull your right leg in right away, and it might feel quite different for that reason. Sometimes we're all sort of right-legged, right? Even the left-handed people sometimes have been taught to be right-legged, and so it can be good to sort of address tightness in the right leg, a different order, sometimes just to shake up our nervous system a little bit. And that's like the way that a gentle sea rocks the boat, right? Not a tumultuous storm. The time you take to pay attention to how it is to be in your body, to your breath, to your experience. That it's okay to focus on it, take it seriously. Still keep your sense of lightness, humor, ease. And drop your both. We're twisting the torso to the left now, right? So we twisted right, first twist. Really, whatever way you didn't twist last time is just fine. If you have other finishing actions like turning upside down or doing power shoulder stand or fish, feel free to do those postures. You can even turn off the video and do them, turn it back on, keep it off. Like, my hope is always that you'll figure out how to guide yourself. Sometimes we just need a guide. Sometimes all the work and effort and energy we have is just to get ourselves to the point where we can take the time and the space to do the work. And so this guidance may be helpful to you, but remember we're collaborating. You're the one waking up from conditioned existence right through this action. And so you can start to make your way towards rest. You might lie on your back in the Shavasana, the corpse mudra, or the death mudra. Some people call it integration. I shy away from getting too serious, but I also don't want to soften the big deal energies and conversations that come up from a practice, from a culture that is not my own, which I am blessed to have even a small amount of knowledge to share. And so take the time, practice the death pose, or you could roll up to an integrated seat. You go to a couch and sit up, to a bed and lie down, take your legs up the wall. You're going to be in a seat, make sure it's sustainable. You might sit up on something. Whenever you start to arrive in rest, you might take the time to close your eyes or to pick a spot to gaze at, to let go of manipulating your breath. Even if you're still a little choppy or held, you can let your involuntary breath sense take over. Put your hands to them. Draw your awareness inward again, that pratyahara. Pay attention to your heart beating in your chest and your blood moving in and out through your veins, your breath moving in and out through your body without changing it or manipulating it. Just experiencing that steady, still hum, right, that you don't have to do anything, right, for your life to continue. You can just bear witness. I'll call you up and out when it's time to change or shift back towards our karmic awareness. Till then, pay attention to how things really are. Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vashavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you're resting or sitting in meditation and wish to remain, do as long as you like. The time has come to return. Do so slowly, going to your breath and asking you to rise just a little, just enough to bring you back to waking awareness. You can slowly sort of crinkle the paper of your existence. Wiggle your fingers, your toes, run your tongue over your mouth surfaces. Please do take the time. There is no rush to a seat, and you don't want to shake off that sense of rest when you keep that integration. So you might stretch out or up in any position. You might twist a little. If you're on your back, you would draw your knees into your chest, roll slowly onto one side, and let your head be heavy, or pressing yourself up. For a closing chant in the lineage of Krishna and Acharya means, may as we together, as we learn, be protected. May we together, as we learn, know ease and joy. May our work for the freedom of all beings everywhere be illuminated and brilliant. And may our work seek to collaborate in the liberation and peace of all beings everywhere in this context of universality and non-dualism. An idea that I offer simply because, whether it be legitimate or not, it connects us to the idea that people came before us who were trying to wake up from conditioned existence. Some of them studied it, some of their experiential time paying attention to what that work is, to free ourselves from suffering, and to sort of not be living in the cloud, right, of what we're told, and to be able to sort of cultivate our own joys and live in an earnest way from our own sense of experience, our own sense of kindness, our own sense of joy, connection. So I offer that to you. That sounds like a whole lot of malarkey, or just maybe a little bit of a start of something. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. But I commend you for practicing in whatever way that you do, and I thank you for letting me be a part of it. Thank you for your time, your forgiveness, your effort. If you have questions for me or need to let me know anything, give me feedback, feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, I hope the sun shines on your face and that we get to see each other again soon.